Hello, Steve Mills here. Welcome to the Results Podcast. It's great to be back sharing with you some more tried, tested and proven ways to grow your business. Now, today I wanted to talk to you about a really important point if you're in business, and that is the difference between what I call an amateur and a professional. I want to go back to my time as a professional sportsman just to demonstrate this and the difference between amateurs and professionals. When I was a professional table tennis player, as you can imagine, it wasn't exactly like being a professional footballer or golf player or tennis pro, where they earn a nominal amount of money. It was tough, it was very difficult to even make a living, let alone make any real money. And one of the things that we did really well, I think, certainly within my group, was to be very professional in terms of what we did. So I'll give you an example. When we played in the British National League, and I played for several teams in that, we would typically turn up round about 10 o'clock in the morning. We'd have a match in the afternoon round about 3 o'clock, normally 3 o'clock kickoff, and we'd get there at 10. We'd probably do some drills, practice sessions, and then probably play until about 11:30, something like that. We'd then have a shower, get a bite to eat, and have a team talk. We'd talk about the opposition, who they were, what was their strengths, what was their weaknesses. We'd share past experiences playing against them and try and advise each other how to play those players and get the best possible result. We then would get changed again, ready to play our match. We'd probably do that about 1:30. We practice normally from about 2 to 2:15. Then the opposition played from 2:15 to 2:30. We'd then get the table again from 2:30 to 2:45. They'd get it 2:45 till 3, and then the match would start at 3 o'clock. Now, obviously, once the match started, it was, again, ultra professional. The whole team are there, supporting each other, willing each other on, lots of camaraderie, shouting, clapping, and so on and so forth. Between games, we were allowed to coach each other, so we'd give each other advice, tell each other where we were going right, where we were going wrong, and so on. The player then, who was on next, after the first game, because back then it was best of 3, would leave the room to go and prepare. So they'd go and do their warm-ups, their stretches, get themselves psychologically right. They didn't want to watch the match and then, with all the emotion that was around that, and then have to go on to play their match. So they'd go out and do that, then they'd come in and so on and so forth. And that's pretty much how we did it. Now, many years later, when I retired from the sport of table tennis, I took up the game of tennis. Now, I played tennis at a half-decent level, but what I'd call an amateur level. I certainly never got paid for playing tennis. And we'd typically turn up to play in the Newbury League. And as I say, we were, one of the best teams in the area, but we were definitely amateur. We weren't professional in any way, sense or form. So the matches used to start, if it was an evening, they'd start at 6:30. If it was a Sunday morning, it'd typically start at 10 o'clock. Guess what time everybody, and I mean everybody, would turn up? Probably at about 10:25. With 5 minutes to go, we'd go onto the court. Often, we'd be late on, and we'd have a couple of minutes practice and then go, and maybe 3 or 4 serves or something like that. And off we go, and we'd try and perform at our best. And that's the difference, I think, in the difference between professionals and amateurs, certainly at sport. And it doesn't matter what the sport is. When I play golf, I turn up and just whack the ball. Occasionally I might go to the driving range, but only occasionally. Do you think, Tiger Woods and as many professional golfers do that? No, absolutely no chance. They practice and practice and practice. And it's hard work being a professional. Now, if you take that into the business context, and I was to say to you, right, okay, I want to help you to grow your business. And the first thing I want you to do is to be more effective, improve what you do in terms of following up what I call your low-hanging fruit. So these are people who you've spoken to, they've not quite converted, people who are current customers, who you've not spoken to on a regular basis. They might be people who you've networked with, but you've never really followed them up. They might be people connected on LinkedIn who you've never spoken to, and so on and so forth. Now, you need to get on the phone and speak to them. How would you do that? Well, firstly, if you're an amateur, you probably wouldn't do it at all. If you're an amateur, if you did it, you'd probably just do it without any real thought or prep. And when I asked you what your script was, what are you going to say, you'd say, well, I don't know really. I was going to just say, it's good to connect to you, and I thought I'd give you a call, see how you were, and see how our business is going right now. And then we'd have a chat about things and try and build some rapport by talking about the weather and so on. Give me a break. That ain't going to do it. We've got to have a higher level of professionalism in our business if you're serious about growing. Everybody tells me, oh yeah, I want to grow our business. Yeah, I want to do that, Steve. But they don't blooming well do anything. They don't do anything different to try and improve that. And that's where I've been helping businesses for 27 years, helping them to do something different, helping them to improve what they do. If I said to you, how would you handle these following objections? It's too expensive. What would you say? I want to think about it. I need to speak to my co-director or my wife or my husband. We don't have the budget. I can't afford it right now. I was just looking. I am not really certain. I want to speak to 3 other companies before we make a decision, and so on and so forth. Have you got that nailed? Are you a professional at that? Or are you just an amateur who either, when somebody said, well, I want to think about it, I'd say, okay, well, shall I give you a call in a couple of weeks? No, that's terrible. That's amateur. You wouldn't get a professional salesperson doing that. So what you've got to do is not only have it down as a script, but actually physically learn it. You've got to nail it. You've got to be absolutely 100%. How do you ask for a referral right now? If I said to you right now, go and ask for a referral to me. You're going to ask me for a referral. What would you do? What would you say? How would you say it? How would you position it? What sort of referrals would you ask for? For most businesses, the answer is they haven't got a clue. And the reason for that is, and I hate to say this, and I don't wish to be mean or horrible, it's just true based on my experience of working with thousands of businesses in hundreds of industries for over 26 years. And the truth behind that is they're amateur as far as sales and marketing is concerned. And if you think about it, why wouldn't they be? Because they're, perhaps a garage mechanic who's professional at repairing cars, very good at that, knows and understands how to do that. Or they're an accountant who's highly skilled in that area. But why would an accountant be skilled at sales and marketing? And the truth is they're not. They're terrible at it, generally speaking. Not all of them. Some of them are professional at it, but a lot of them aren't. And so on and so forth. So no matter what business you're in, no matter what industry you're in, I want you to remember that you're essentially in the sales and marketing industry. If I was a hairdresser and ran my own hairdressing salon, I'd have to think of myself as a hairdresser let me refresh that. As a sales and marketing company, definitely the case. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say to you. I hope it's been of value. I hope you take it on board. And really what I hope is you do something about it. If you want to do something about it with me and book a meeting and let me talk to you more about how you can raise your game, improve your standards and become a professional sales and marketing person, then get in touch. Best way of doing that is to go to my website, which is steve-mills.com, and book a meeting, sign up to a meeting, click the gold button. That'll give you access to my diary. You can book a meeting at a time that's suitable to you. So thanks very much for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you again on my next results podcast.